There are lots of micro changes happen, but I want to just concentrate on two larger change, which I think from a consumption part and also the opportunity is very, very big. And I always say that this is that time when a lot of businessmen have to look at this opportunity. One is the 50 plus in the country. Okay, this is a decade where 50 plus, many of them on the upper middle class are relieved of their responsibilities because the children are working at a younger age, nuclear families, uh, their savings is large, and they are young. Okay, the living age has moved to 75, 80. They are young, they want to spend, they want to enjoy. Government may call them senior citizens, but they want to be young. There are not many products, not many services which are catered to them. Here is a great opportunity to serve them. The second is the 15 to 25, just before the Gen Z, whatever you call. This is a segment which is very, very aware, very different in the way they look at things. They are consuming, but they're consuming with a purpose in mind. They want to consume from people who have a purpose in mind. So organizations whose purpose is not inclusive, you'll actually find going forward, these consumers will not shop with you.
So I think in the best interest of time, we can begin. Thank you very much, everyone, for taking the time out, and welcome to the circle. It's such a big privilege and a pleasure to reconnect with everyone, our distinguished panelists who are handpicked because of the think input and the rich experience that they bring in. And thank you to our distinguished audience for joining us. We've received 100 plus registrations, most of whom are senior CLCXOs and senior leaders. Many of them are our and repeat visitors to our webinars, which is very encouraging and motivates us to provide even higher levels of dialogue through the online modes as well. And for those of you who are new with us today, the BlueCircle is the world's first sector-specific networking app for senior leaders that's built in India. We currently focus on 20 sector communities such as retail, education, e-mobility, energy, real estate, healthcare, and many more. We also present socioeconomic insights, which ultimately determine the evolving complexion of the market. And along with our weekly webinar series and our digital publication, you'll be happy to know that we've recently launched the first version of the BlueCircle app for leaders. It's somewhat like the sector-specific LinkedIn for senior leaders, a space to have meaningful conversations, connect with close to 10,000 like-minded leaders from India and across the globe, house high-quality curated content, and access business opportunities across our core sectors. So those leaders among you who are interested, please do join us. I will share the link to the chat, link to the app in the chat section, and we'll soon send out invitations post our webinars to the new guests. Also happy to share that we've recently been featured in the week, and I will share the link with all our members soon as well. And today we're privileged to have big minds and leading thinkers of the industry join in for our retail communities discussion. The topic, which is timely, Retail 2022, what's in store? And now in the best interest of time, I will just briefly mention the names and designations of the panelists who have joined us today. We have with us Mr. B.S. Nagesh, founder, Trust for Retailers and Retail Associates of India. Mr. Damodar Mall, CEO, Grocery, Reliance Retail. Ms. Sharmila Sahai, Managing Director, Timex Group India. And our chair and moderator for the session is Mr. Pavan Choudary, Chairman, BlueCircle, best-selling author, CEO, French multinational, a business intellectual, and sits on several boards across the country. Welcome, everybody. And I now request Mr. Choudary to please chair and moderate the session.
Thank you very much, Siddharth. And it is very interesting for me to be a part of this panel where we have leading lights from the industry. And also, I'm noticing based on the questions which are coming on my WhatsApp and on the mail also earlier, that it's a very enlightened audience which is joining. So, as a preamble, I'd like to speak of something which is very close to my heart. And I'll come to that after I finish talking of two things, technology and retailing. Even an enlightened seer like Plato was averse to modern technology. This aversion continued for centuries, and the last big expression of it was witnessed when the Industrial Revolution came in the Luddite movement, where Luddites were people who used to go and physically break down machineries. They were so much against modern technology. However, the resistance to modern technology was going down. Electricity came, automobile came, and so many new technologies came. Then the digital technology came, and slowly people started withdrawing from resisting technology as a median response of the human race. There might be some uh, isolated people who might still object to technology, but largely technology has got its place, and the technologists have got their place in the world today. You have seen the unicorns, etc., emerging in mushrooming numbers, and that is also adding to their respect. The other community I'd like to speak about is retailing. Retailing also has been, as a community, it has been attacked a lot. Even Napoleon, when he pointed towards UK to exhort his Frenchmen to invade it, he said, let us, pointing at UK, he said, let us defeat this nation of shopkeepers. That means, by shopkeepers, he meant businessmen, but he used the word, unfortunately, shopkeepers. That means that time businessmen were not a respected part of the social cohort. The general was respected because he was plundering. The bureaucrat was respected because he was administering. But despite the fact what the businessman was bringing to the door, he was being deridingly called a shopkeeper. And this shopkeeper or the retailer is now slowly entering human consciousness as somebody who really provides a great service. If you see the pandemic and compare it with the last pandemic in 1920, the last pandemic broke completely the spine of the economy, because two things which were saviors in COVID were not there in the Spanish flu. One was the refrigerator to store groceries, and the other was this digital technology and e-retailing, which digital technology made possible. These are the two saviors which emerged. A lot has been spoken about digital technology and technology. In fact, I remember when the pandemic broke out, my wife told me that we have stored stuff. And I asked, what all have you stored? She said, there are eggs lying. I said, how many eggs have you put in the fridge? She said, 140 we bought. So I quipped on the table a couplet I came out with, about which I actually am quite proud. Sunday ho ya Monday, रोज खाओ अंडे, 140 पड़े हैं, फ्रिज में हो रहे हैं ठंडे. But point was that the refrigerator made that possible. The grocery line did not shake because of the refrigerator, and the e-retailer, the person who was delivering goods, was, to borrow Nagesh's term, a frontline worker. He was like a frontline worker who has still not got his due. Even today, an unenlightened bureaucrat can often call a businessman deridingly dukandar hai. You know, though of course the enlightened ones are understanding that these businessmen and these dukandars are actually at the heart of the economy and finance and capital. Their social relevance is perhaps higher as a community than of any bureaucracy. They are recognizing that. But still the retailer has not got 100% is due. And because we have the leaders of this sector today on the panel, and we also have somebody like B.S. Ganesh, who's a shining example of this sector, who is not only a pioneer, a super successful entrepreneur, but also it is so gratifying to see how he has digested his success and maintained his social graces and sharpness of mind. So I feel that this is a very good time and a very good place for me to tell everybody here on the panel and in the audience that everybody who contributes should get his due. The businessman has also started getting his due. The retailer still has not got his due, and I hope we will somewhere work towards it. And on that note, I come to Nagesh and I ask him to comment first on how is the consumer changing and how is this change going to affect retailing? Nagesh.
Thank you, Pavan, and namaskar to everybody. But before I answer your question, let me remind the audience that the world's richest man is a retailer, Jeff Bezos, and the India's richest man has become a retailer, Mr. Ambani. So retail is something that creates wealth, and when it creates wealth, I think it also starts getting recognition, and I believe it's also an aspiration. Okay, so a lot of people will get into the industry and probably will do a lot of good things. Coming to your question, Pavan, in terms of what's happening to the consumer, to me, Sharmila and Damodar are the best people to answer that. I can only tell you that necessity is a mother of invention. Last 2 years, the consumer, in order to live a good life, okay, adopted to a lot of technology. And because he or she adopted to a lot of technology, uh, the producers and the people who serve the consumer had no option than to see that they jump on the bandwagon of technology. It's not that all of us did not know as to what online or e-commerce will do. For the last 10 years, we have been working on it. But for some of us, it took us 10 years to reach 1% of the business and took 2 years to reach 7 or 10% of the business. I think that's the big difference that's happened. So one is the consumer has changed. They have adopted to the current environment very fast. So do we have a choice as retailers not to adopt? In a simple word, I can say कि जब हम दुकान चलाते थे, तो हम रात को सोते थे, कंज्यूमर भी सोता था. अभी कंज्यूमर जो है वो 24 घंटे जाके शॉप कर रहा है, तो अगर हम सोएंगे तो हम वो 12 घंटे का धंधा मिस कर जाएंगे. I think that is the biggest change that has happened to consumer. Earlier we had to open the door for them to enter. Now they open the door for them to enter. I mean, this is a very, very big difference that's happened. The keys of our stores we have handed over to the consumer, okay, through the websites that we have or the portals or I think that's the biggest change. There are lots of micro changes happen, but I want to just concentrate on two larger change, which I think from a consumption part and also the opportunity is very, very big. And I always say that this is that time when a lot of businessmen have to look at this opportunity. One is the 50 plus in the country. Okay, this is a decade where 50 plus, many of them on the upper middle class are relieved of their responsibilities because the children are working at a younger age, nuclear families, their savings is large, and they are young. Okay, the living age has moved to 75, 80. They are young, they want to spend, they want to enjoy. Government may call them senior citizens, but they want to be young. There are not many products, not many services which are catered to them. Here is a great opportunity to serve them. The second is the 15 to 25, just before the Gen Z, whatever you call. This is a segment which is very, very aware, very different in the way they look at things. They are consuming, but they're consuming with a purpose in mind. They want to consume from people who have a purpose in mind. So organizations whose purpose is not inclusive, you'll actually find going forward, these consumers will not shop with you. Again, I'm repeating, organization have to have purpose which is inclusive, which means an organization's purpose has to include the community, the humanity. So you will find this big change happening in the next 10 years when people are going to ask questions to say, I want to buy this, but where did you source? Whom did you source from? Whom do you employ? How genuine a shopkeeper or an employer you are? And lots of many questions. In terms of retail adoption, I think the solution will be, in my opinion, based on just three things: convenience, affordability, and simple. Okay, so like I keep saying, retail is the simplest business in the world, complicated by mankind. It's a simple business, पैसा दो और product ले लो, उसको हम लोगों ने सब complicate कर दिया है. So if you can keep it simple, keep it affordable, and make it convenient, I think retailers will be very successful. I think Damodar and Sharmila are the best people to talk in detail in terms of what they are seeing as consumer changes.
So, Sharmila, Nagesh has mentioned silver generation. He's saying silver generation as the gold. So they are very important. I fully agree. Regarding the purpose piece, some anthropologists say that a generation does what become, it follows the governing rhythm of the international milieu. That means internationally, or your role model nations or communities, if you are behaving selfishly, the generation which follows behaves selfishly. That means selfishness is a switch. Once you have it there, then somebody or the other will keep on pressing on it. So this is the point which I would like to ask you and share your thoughts, please. That is this new generation which Nagesh is speaking about, is it committedly altruistic and committedly wanting to stay on the wanting to reward the inclusive brand, or you feel their love for inclusivity might be short-lived, might get hurt when they have to pay much higher as price of that inclusivity? Sharmila.
Right, Pavan. I'm from the fashion industry, and sustainability in the fashion industry is really a big topic. Uh, I think when the fast fashion started, we started making $10, $20 t-shirts. We started making cheaper products which people would wear every day and then dispose of. All this caused a lot of problems, especially in the fashion industry. And you would have heard all the leading fashion brands have made a commitment that they will be more sustainable. So having said that, I am a very practical person. It's people are making these statements and people are serious about these statements, and to a section of consumer, it is very, very important. I know consumers who will see a green tag and then they will go and purchase the product. And sustainability is important, but you need to see, that's the discussion our Prime Minister had when they were talking about global warming, etc. Which level of the growth cycle is India in? Which level of growth cycle are tier 2, tier 3 cities in? So different consumers are going to react in a different way, but definitely sustainability is a story. And as corporate organizations, we have to take this responsibility. Even if the consumer is not demanding for it, I think organizations have to be aware of it and have to take care of it, definitely there. Again, inclusivity, a person who has just started seeing consumerism in developing nations like India, he was not exposed to this kind of retailing. Today, the e-commerce partners are showing him the range. He's to see that range. For him, it's a new world altogether. So it is going to take time. And I believe it's not only lip service. Organizations have to do it, but how the consumers respond to it we will see some consumers keep demanding a $10 t-shirt, a use and throw kind of a product. But I believe the consumers will also turn around. But I still believe the onus is with the organizations. So on this, I have to say that. And I would like to make a couple of points on what Nagesh said. So, the consumer, I mean, I think we really need a psychiatrist or a behavioral scientist to understand how they are reacting. So when the first wave came, it was this kind of a panic, like you were saying, your wife wanted to hold on eggs. Now in the second wave, people are looking about entertainment. They are worried about, there are different things they are worried about, their education. They want to, like we were discussing the other day, we were amazed a discretionary product like watches, fragrances, jewelry, the growth rate are in double digits. Some of it has crossed the 2019 growth rates. So yeah, the consumer, how it's behaving, it's changing very rapidly, and the consumers are different across different sectors. And the way they behave, I think as marketeers, we have to watch each and every consumer cohort very, very sharply so that we do not miss opportunities. And on the retail side, Nagesh, I just wanted to add the retail experience, especially because I come from the fashion side, the experience when you go into a retail store, that also is making a lot of difference. So like Xiaomi, they launched the products online, but when they opened their offline showrooms, that enhanced their online sales. So I believe that I just wanted to add to your points that experience, offline retail experience is going to be very important. So Pavan, that's it for me for this question.
No, excellent points, and we will surely give Nagesh a chance to repartee the slight nuance which we have tried to bring. And I'm sure he can handle both our points alone. But before that, let us go to Damodar. Damodar, the point which Sharmila is making, that it was anticipated that discretionary spending will go down. But discretionary spending also has actually gone up, like on jewelry, on fragrances, etc. How do you account for this? What is playing in the consumer's mind that even at such a risky time, he is spending money there? Damodar.
Yeah. So, namaste everyone, and Pavan, for me to mention this, I think it's about the shopping that they're doing from us. And all of us are modern retailers, so we sell to relatively higher living standard LSM customers, middle and upper middle class customers primarily. And there, what went down is travel out, eating out. Those expenses went down. Indulgence, happiness, positivity got curated at home and around there. So not just watches and jewelry, but even pasta and pizza and baking at home also increased, because cooking at home was now camaraderie, fun at home, social media show off. It all that's the role things at home played. And in my business, I'm a grocer. I always say my biggest competition is eating out of home. So when eating out of home was shut, eating at home increased, and eating at home actually upgraded in the manner I described. If I'm selling luxury items, then one of my key competition is shopping that people do when they're traveling overseas on their holidays or work trips. And that competition was shut, and therefore people would buy more here. So I think the churn happened, the manthan happened. Each category would have its own nuances why it saw the upside. But people found their own ways of discovering and sustaining positivity around their lives, is how I see it.
And how else did you think that your consumer changed?
Oh, digital happened, like everybody said, digital happened in people's lives, and that became mainstream. all those people who were on the border of adopting digital did that. And I think I want to mention one phenomena. While uh, uh, these corporate chains like ours and others that get mentioned, that what we wanted to do in 3 years, we did it in 3 months in terms of digitization. But I think in my grocery business, the single largest momentum of digitization was actually practiced by the Kirana stores. That not the apps, in terms of touching lives, not the apps, but it's the WhatsApp orders that touched more lives and served more number of customers. So simple Kirana stores and simple consumers learned this symphony of ordering digitally, paying digitally, and interacting remote and home delivering. I think that to me is a large change, because that will sustain the habit, that will modelize a larger number of retailers that all of us make up. And for us, it's an imperative. The customer is now seamlessly physical and digital in her mind. We need to travel and we need to become omni-channel, something that Nagesh put so nicely. And a nice reminder for me in my business is, in the good old days, when everyone was buying from Kirana stores, half the grocery was always delivered home. So these days we are saying 10% groceries delivered home, and we are calling it e-commerce and talking about it. But as far as the customer is concerned, half the grocery was always delivered home. Only the means, which was a slip of paper or a phone call or a Chintu going and saying ye bhej do, only those means have become digital. As far as the customer is concerned, she was 50-50 omni and remote and physical all the time. So we are all this change is making us learn and accelerate and grow to become as good as the Kirana stores have always been. That's how I see it.
Agreed. In fact, a BlueCircle research has found that Chintu's family, not only Chintu's family has also started going the digital route. And when we delve deeper, we realize that Chintu has, okay, he's Chintu for us, for you and me, and even for the shopkeeper is Chintu. But actually his name is Chintamani. And he is not getting the respect at the counter of the hyper mall, or he's being disregarded by the fellow shopper. He has gone in disproportionate droves onto the e-bandwagon, which is, I think, also a good signal to us that perhaps right now, when people are thinking that retail, you mentioned a beautiful point, that the coffee also has to be made there. Then it is a home has become a coffee shop, come entertainment center, come gym. So what about those homes which cannot afford a coffee shop, an entertainment center, and other things? Can the retail think of adapting their places so that 450 square foot home which he has, where he has 6 people living, not even that, it's much smaller actually, he can step out and go to the retail place as a public realm? Has somebody thought of that, Ganesh? Is this one of the things which we can provide to that humble shopper and depend on then his volumes moving to us? Nagesh.
So Pawan,
Nagesh, sorry interrupting. Can I go first?
Yeah, go first.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So all of modernity, as I see it, actually moves the needle in favor of the shopper or the consumer. Yeah. So when we set up physical shops and make them self-service, we take the shopkeeper away from between the shopper and the merchandise that she has to buy. There is no person judging the shopkeeper. self-service leads it that way. So first, shift of the needle in favor of the customer. Then when we do e-commerce, then we actually take the entire shop away. And it's a completely anonymous thing where the customer is freely browsing, checking prices, rejecting things, and nobody cares. Nobody has a way of caring as well. So all of this modernity is actually making things simpler for all people, customers of all classes, to participate in this celebration or theater of consumption that retailing has always been.
I love that
Nagesh,
expression.
sorry.
I love that expression, theater of consumption. And I'm reminded of a growing tribe in one of the most modern nations of the world, Japan. It's called Hokikomori. Hokikomori are those people who do not want to interact with human beings anymore. They want to interface with machines only, because they feel that human beings judge, human beings can be rude, human beings can cause stress and distress. So, Nagesh, first of all, is retail adapting as trying to become a public realm for the modest consumer also, who cannot convert his home into a coffee shop plus entertainment center and gym? And second, and Nagesh had told us that he has a bad connection. So in which case I'll come back to you, Damodar and Sharmila. And the second is that will this bring a fillip in retailing? That means if retailing is growing at X percentage, do you feel this digitalization of retail will not only be a substitute of that growth, but also overall add much more to the growth rate? Damodar. And then I come to Sharmila.
Yeah. First, a sense of perspective and balance. Yes, I'm a retailer. My cousin business is Geo. Therefore, I can tell you that all of us are talking digitization of retail, etc., etc. But I know for a fact that of the 100 people who own smartphones in India, 92 of them don't shop with their phones at all. They've never paid money to buy anything. They're consuming, they're doing video chats, calls like this, they're consuming content. They're very happy with it, but they're not doing merchandise transaction. So yes, digital shopping and this modernization has a higher share of mind and share of discussions in forums like this. But I just thought I'll paraphrase it with the share of market as well. When you look at the fuller pie.
Great. So, Sharmila, you would have heard my whole point, and then we'll go to Nagesh.
Yeah.
Do you feel that this ease of shopping, which e-tailing gives, or the occasion of non-judgmental shopping, which e-tailing gives to those consumers who can be judged adversely in the shopping mall, will this overall add a greater momentum than just substituting offline by online purchase? And what are you doing? You are also in the luxury space. Is there a possibility of you downgrading your product a little so that you can provide uh, a place for good retail experience to the more modest consumer? Is that possible?
Okay, first I'm going to challenge you on your assumption that the offline guys do not discriminate. Believe me, there are pin codes in Noida and Faridabad where Flipkart and Amazon do not deliver. Because people are snatching the packages and all. And online, the privacy, they know exactly which pin code, they know exactly everything about you. So, okay, but I will answer your point using the assumption that maybe discrimination is happening. But consumption is always based on your need and how much you have in your pocket and then where do you want to go to do that kind of a shopping? So for the consumer who is doing a lifestyle kind of a shopping, and if he wants to buy a shirt, maybe an Akshay Kumar is worn and he's feeling shy to go there, and it's easy for him to anonymously shop online, fine, I can agree that. But again, for me, that consumer, if he can afford that, he would have the confidence to go and do it offline also. That is my premise. So I'm saying that this discrimination in this modern world, I mean, I hope it is not happening. It is very, if shoppers are behaving like this, it is really sad. But again, I can tell you, once I was trying to enter a mall and the guard was not letting some people enter the mall. Yeah, I can understand that kind of a discrimination. But why are they trying to do that? Are they trying to go to the mall for that experience, or were they trying to get into the mall for shopping? So for shopping, there are always lots of ways, etc. And I don't think discrimination is such a big point on that front. Each consumer, is aspirational. Everyone wants to be treated better than how they are treated. And that's what I believe retailing is all about. You are saying for the bottom of a pyramid, you have a different retail set. I don't think that's the right thing to do. Everything is democratic. It depends on the consumers where and how comfortable, what is his convenience to go and buy that product, and from where he wants to buy the product. In the category we are in, we define our target consumers very well. We know who is wanting to buy. Even in the watch market, Timex is a mass market brand. For the mass market, we have a different retailing structure. For the fashion, it is different, and for the luxury, it is different. So the retailing has to be according to the target consumers and the segmentation we have. So if you are particularly asking for those consumers who are discriminated, I think that is very difficult to answer. I mean, it is upon the retailers to make their doors invite everyone to their doors. And I mean, if you see the big bazaars, if you see what Reliance has done, anyone can just walk in and enjoy the retail experience. I should not be saying it, but the lady who helps me in the house, she loves going to this Wednesday shopping of Big Bazaar, etc. So I would little hesitate to acknowledge your discrimination point.
Okay, fine. So this was just one research finding, and so basically what it said, the research was pointing out towards to what has often been said, that we look at the discriminations against us more clearly. Like, for example, we started with retailers getting discriminated, but we perhaps do not see the other persons who are getting discriminated so clearly. But I take your point, and it's a good challenge. Let us go to Nagesh and ask him, Nagesh, do you feel that there is a space for the retail sector to evolve in a manner that the more modest customer can have a better shopping experience, and he starts looking at the retail experience as an outlet for him, as a kind of space of greater luxury than he can have at home because his home is too cramped? Nagesh? You're muted. You're muted.
There are lots and lots of things I want to talk. Okay, I've been
Go ahead,
hearing,
go ahead.
and so firstly, I think when I said inclusive, okay, I want to distinguish between inclusiveness and sustainability. Yeah. When I said inclusive, these are small things. Okay. I mean, you're a neighborhood shop. How well do you respect the neighborhood in terms of cleanliness, in terms of the kind of people that you hire and what they do? It's as simple as that, and consumers are watching this. So I just want to go to that level to say what inclusiveness means here. We are far away from sustainability, and I think the world is talking, but there's a lot of talk and action there's a huge difference. Yeah. coming to the whole discrimination of the Chintamani ji, okay. See, I think like Damodar said, the whole transformation of retail from the traditional to modern itself is slowly changing the mindset of the consumer, okay. We were early serving the customer, so we were servants. Then we started assisting the customers. We became assistants. Today we are recommending to customers and therefore we are consultants. So I think that's the transformation, okay? I have tried to put it in much shorter words, but you'll see this transformation happen, which means the individual also has to grow himself to that level. As far as the aspiration is concerned, because India keeps jumping levels, I mean, we didn't have pagers which directly jumped into mobiles, okay? We did not have modern retail going to 25% or 35% and e-commerce has come in. If you look at around the world, modern retail has reached 60 to 70 to 80% before they got e-commerce. India got e-commerce and online shopping at 10%, okay? And not only that, there are a lot of changes that is happening to the environment because of the stacks that India has created, the India stacks, whether it's the Geo, the Jan Dhan Yojana, or the digital payment, or the Aadhaar, UPI. So there are a lot of environmental changes that have happened. What that has done is, and of course, what Sharmila mentioned about the fast fashion and product becoming affordable, one of the major means of discrimination was the way you see a person. Okay, that has actually gone. Today, you may be wearing a jacket, which may be a Savile Row jacket. I can wear a similar jacket at 1/10 the price in India and walk into the store. Okay, and I can still behave, and very difficult to distinguish between a Pavan and a Nagesh. Okay, so I think that's one. Second is because we are still in developing mode on the retail, therefore there are lots of model getting created. I mean, actually what Big Bazaar did was democratize the whole retail for the bottom of the pyramid. Vishal Mega Mart has taken to the next level. V2 Retail has taken to the next level. V-Mart has taken to the next level. Okay, Max Fashion has taken to the next level. Reliance Trends has taken to the next level. So India is growing very differently than the way the world has grown. And the best part of India is we will be able to meet the aspirations of the people as they want to see themselves looking at the social media and television based on their affordability, which has never happened earlier. Okay, the whole digital revolution, the whole technology revolution has actually done that. I mean, today you can have a 55-inch TV for 19,000 and a 1,99,000 and a 19,99,000. So I think India is in a very, very beautiful way. The only thing that worries me is that, like I mentioned last time, we should be sure that we are able to concentrate and focus on 90% of what is happening in retail rather than just focusing all energies on the 10% of online. Online, e-commerce, omni-channel is important, but as of today in the India's journey, physical is very, very important. Why? Because it is not the experience that Sharmila spoke about. It is also the experimentation that the customer is doing. Why is the experience gone up? Why is it that people are buying pastas from Damodar's store? Okay, it's basically because people have got the ability to experiment. Okay, where they could not experiment outside because they could dress well, but there are a lot of things they did not know. Even today, if I go to a luxury store, I don't know how to pronounce quite a few things. Okay, I would like to experiment those in an inner circle. So this is a beautiful moment for India and a lot of opportunities. The reason I'm saying a lot of opportunities is you have the whole 1.3 billion who are consuming. Even a person in a rural area has created opportunity for FMCG products and two-wheeler. Okay, and the heroes of the world and the Bajaj of the world are growing. So as far as India is concerned, in my opinion, the discrimination is probably 0.1% or 1%. Okay, people are discriminating themselves because they have not got the opportunity to educate themselves and do things so that they don't discriminate themselves. So मुझे डर लगता है दुकान में जाने के लिए. Okay, once upon a time, I would find it difficult to enter a 5-star hotel because that environment intimidated me. Okay, but today I don't because I have grown in life. Similarly, others are also growing in life. So I would not actually subscribe to that. But I would definitely say that the opportunity is so large in this country. Okay, we can debate for the next 10 hours as to the kind of opportunities that are getting created, every segment for every category. Ask Damodar. I mean, in 2,500 square feet of his grocery store, today he probably sells double the number of assortment that he was selling a few years back. And even then, he has 10 times more assortment that is online because that's the opportunity that has got created. So I would say fantastic opportunity for those who encourage themselves to learn and grow. And both at shopkeepers level, as at the person who work in the shops and at the consumers level, because they can experiment at every level of affordability.
No, no, very good points. I think the example which you gave, that the television is no longer available only for 19 lakh. It is available for 1,90,000 also, 19,000 also. So there are tiers of spaces which consumers can easily choose from, and they will slot them accordingly. And therefore, there is a if there is a tag for there is a spectrum of tags, there's a spectrum of spaces where they can find their comfort level. Great point. Damodar, how do you see, depending on how the customer is changing, how retail is going to change? What are the two or three trends which you see which are distinctly coming up in the near future? Damodar.
Yeah, Pavan, I'll
Your voice
answer
is
one
breaking.
question that you had asked in the previous one. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah. Now you're better. I think now you're back on the Geo
Okay.
network.
So you had asked as to what are we doing to be more inclusive? What do we do in practice? Increase participation by all sections of the
Sorry,
society.
Damodar, we can't hear
So
you. We can't hear you. So let me go to Sharmila while you come back on Geo network. I think you've gone on some other network. So Sharmila, meanwhile, what are the trends you see in the times to come, depending on the changes which you have already mentioned in the consumer psyche, expectation, sentiment, behavior?
So definitely retail will be reimagined. It has to be reimagined in all formats, whether the kirana stores or the large format stores or e-commerce, retail will be imagined. One big factor will be technology. Even as Nagesh was saying, even at the kirana stores, it is technology, whether it's as basic as a WhatsApp technology will make a big change in the retail section. The way you are making payments, contactless behavior, this is definitely going to be the major changes. And specifically from the fashion industry side, I think the artificial intelligence, the AI is really going to make a big change. You don't need to go to the changing rooms. You can see in the changing mirrors how you are going to dress up. So one big change as is technology, reimagining the layouts. The other thing is, I believe the productivity of retailers are going to go up. I think the COVID has taught us that earlier we used to manage our inventories very badly. We used to manage our displays very badly. We used to manage our manpower very badly. I think COVID has taught us how to manage things in a better and more productive way. So in the management side of the retail, I think things will be managed very differently also. So Pavan, these are my 2 points on the change in the retail side.
Nagesh, coming on the layout and the changes in the retail piece, which Sharmila is speaking about, if the sale per retail square foot has fallen, the inventory carrying cost remains the same, the employee cost also with enlightened employers almost remains the same, the rent remains, okay, it is less, but it is still high. How do you think all this is changing, and what other forecasts do you have for this sector in terms of trends?
So, so Pawan, one of the first things we have to understand is we are operating in India, which is a continent by itself. Okay, no retailer ever goes into Europe together. He goes first to Italy, then to Germany, then to Europe, then to UK, I mean, one by one. Let's not forget that Vishal is a billion-dollar company. Okay, was only half the country was occupying, and now having bought over something from Arvind, they are actually expanding. So the first big opportunity is, as modern retailers, we have not even penetrated 3 or 4% of the pin codes. We have not even penetrated physically even 100 odd cities. Maybe there are one or two examples of a Reliance or Max which have gone to maybe 1,000 towns, but the opportunity is 1,000 towns. So first is going deeper into the country in terms of reach. The second is going wider in terms of the strata of customers that we serve. Third is the assortment increase that has happened because of the availability, whether it is FMCG, whether it is electronics, whether it is just mobile. I mean, today you can run a shop just for mobile. Today you can run a 2,000 square feet shop just for watches. Okay, 10 years back, if you ask me, or 30 years back, it was HMT and Titan. Today, I mean, we sell, people know us as a department store in Shopper Stop, but we are probably the largest seller of watches in the country. Okay, so to me, the kind of changes that have happened in the ecosystem is what is providing huge opportunity. Coming to productivity of retail, see, retail is also requires very nimble working. Retail is not a business. That's why I say it's a simple business, a daily business, and you have to be very nimble on the feet, because if consumers around you change, okay, your business changes. So if you ask me from a productivity point of view, first of all, you have to continuously watch what's happening to your consumer. And most of us, okay, even with the most loyal consumers, are not able to take between 10 to 15% of their buy baskets. Let's not forget that all the modern retailers that Damodar is talking about are still able to capture the bulk of the monthly sales. But the between fills that happens between Monday to Friday is still going to Kiranas. The moment a lot of Kiranas are becoming modern, they're actually able to capture the monthly basket also. So it's as you build in relationship, move from transaction to relationship, because see, online only recognizes transaction. Online doesn't build relationship. Okay, it builds stickiness through offers, whereas brick and mortar retailers build stickiness to emotions. Brick and mortar retailers bring the heart to tick and the mind to click. Okay, the online retailers are doing only mind to click. The heart doesn't tick there because there's no heart mechanism which works in the online business. So the more relationship you have with the customer, the more you're able to serve. And like Damodar said, 50% of the customers were anyhow being home delivered. It's unfortunate that the people who are home delivering are not valued, and the people who have just started delivering are getting valued in millions of dollars. Okay, that's the nature of the capital markets today. So productivity is not a simple question. Okay, productivity is something that you have to really look at it. So for example, if you're talking of people, yes, during the pandemic, I think 1/3 of the retail manpower lost their jobs, or they left and went away to their homes because they were migrant workers. Retail has learned how to manage the same productivity with 2/3 now. Okay, now that's a very positive thing to happen. So retailer has to watch, but I'm only saying, let's not bother about the past. Let's not clog our mind with the memories of the past. You are sitting in a country which has so much of opportunity. Let's not even start imagining things. Why are we all worried about? Why are we talking online? Why are we talking e-commerce? Because we are imagining things. Today also in America, online is not even 25% of the market. Okay, today in India, online is not 10% of the market. So we can, like Sharmila was talking, build great experience and experiment with the retail, and it can really happen. Look at what's happening to coffee shops. Look at what's happening to chai shops. Look at what's happening to salons. Okay, everybody has started experimenting. So to me, I would say, customer wants experience, please experiment. There is opportunity, please diverse. There is customers buy basket, go deeper into it. Okay, it's better to have more deeper relationship with customers than going wider into attracting more and more customers. And that's what retail gives you as an opportunity.
Damodar, very good points, Nagesh, very good points. Damodar, if you're back, just signal if you're back. So I don't think we have Damodar still. Damodar, are you there? Okay, then let me come back to you, Nagesh. The point which you are making is extremely valid, that the offline will remain. When the internet came, there was a lot of talk that now education will happen only online and all shopping also will go only online. This is about 15-20 years back. However, we realized that schools and colleges also continued, and online market also in education boomed. Similarly, the shopping malls also continued, and online selling also started happening. The pandemic has given an unprecedented push to online. And there are certain weaknesses which online still suffers. And some of these weaknesses might be irrecoverable from, but there might be certain areas where there might be some more momentum which can come through the creative thinking which you're talking about offline, in online also. The other day we were chatting, and this point came up that in the Bible there were only three colors. Only three colors are described in the Bible. Does that mean there were only three colors? No. The vocabulary was limited. As the vocabulary expanded, we now have number of colors. So what is it that is missing in the digital vocabulary, which can be compensated for through some other measures to build emotion? Is there, have we reached the, which can be compensate digital expression? Have we reached the very end of digital expression in terms of generating emotion? Because I remember Margaret Thatcher had said that if your goods are good, she was addressing a chamber of commerce. She said, if your goods are good quality, customers will come back. If your goods are poor quality, goods will come back. But today, with reverse logistics happening, even non-good quality goods are coming back, and a whole industry has emerged on that level. That means Margaret Thatcher made a very good comment, but she did not foresee what is going to happen 100%. So, Damodar, the point which I'd like to ask you, that all of us are limited in our ability to visualize things. Can you suggest some measures, or have you thought of some ways in which you can come emotionally close to your digital customer while staying online? Damodar.
Can you hear me? Just confirm, please.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So I think this is a new vocabulary. This is a language that both parties, which is us, the providers, and the shoppers and the consumers, we are both learning. And it's early days. It will evolve, and the language itself is evolving. I think some of it got mentioned that I can start bringing the digital experience into the physical world. I can make your shopping in the stores richer because of intelligence that I use in my stores. So I think this space will evolve. I would not hazard to say that the sophistication and therefore the induction of relationship and emotion will stay away from digital for long. It's just that the bhasha spoken there will be different, the toolkit will be different. And we do that, and well, at one level you call it intrusion of privacy, at the other level I call it delight. If the customer starts trusting me that I will know when her detergent is going to run out, and do that work for her and predict and ship it to her. I think that is relationship, that is intelligence that I bring in and actually add value to people's lives. So digital will have, trying to get the relationship building vocabulary of the physical world into digital world. I won't go that way. I think both these worlds will have their own bhasha of building relationship, is the way I see this going forward.
Excellently put, and I see Nagesh's hand up.
Yeah,
Nagesh.
Pavan, I think let's put some realities in place.
Hmm.
Even in the last 5 years, with the growth of GDP, the per capita has not grown at the same level. When you talk about $2,000 per capita, it's $150, $160 a month. And if you look at it, the unicorns have grown, and therefore they have been able to either maintain the per capita or go up. You also mentioned about a house of 450 square feet. where 6 people live. Do we have beaches in this country? Do we have gardens in this country? In summer or in rains or in winter? Okay, what are the places where you can have social gathering other than temple? I think we have to understand, and Kishore Biyani said it many, many years back. I mean, shopping is going to be the next alternate to going to temple. That I think is an important part. And because of this, you will actually find that a lot of people would actually continue to go to the physical. There is a possibility that people may be sitting in a mall and still shopping online because they may want to not go into a shop there. So it's going to be a combination of both that's going to happen. And that's the reason why you see today, I think somewhere Damodar's company announced that they will open 800 stores. I mean, 5 years back, it was not imaginable to say they can open 800 stores a year, because that's the opportunity. And this whole population is today sitting with, like I mentioned, an aspiration. And I don't think there should be any challenge for any one of us to see opportunity in this whole consumption space. The only question is, can we serve those Indians who are below the $2,000, and there are more than 50% of them? Damodar will agree their consumption is not even 180 SKU versus a consumption of yours or somebody who consumes 20,000 and 28,000 SKUs. So I think this is an evolution that will happen. Sometimes what happens is we look at the top 10% of the country and then start imagining that this is what is happening to the 90%. No, I think the life is slowly improving, and we will have to cater to those customers and as their aspiration level goes up. The second thing I want to talk about is when we talked about the kiranas or the small shopkeepers. See, they have come from the earlier generation, but their second generation is educated now. Okay, now Damodar may have enough example. I may have from my trust enough example where a Society General Stores in Mumbai has 6 stores. Okay, or another kirana guy has 6 stores. The family has started becoming modernized. So on the other side, it is not only the Reliance and the shoppers of the world who are bringing in modernization. The small kiranas are bringing in modernization, and they're doing a fabulous job on that because they're learning those. So this will be a real amalgamation of things that you will see. And the best thing is the cost of doing retail business has come down dramatically for the small businesses. See, all of us have spent millions of dollars to create ERPs. Today, a kirana, an apparel guy, a hardware guy is getting almost everything free. The India stack is free. The Jio is almost at a bottom price. Okay, entrepreneurs are coming, online guys are coming and providing them software. Bank is coming, giving them POS. I mean, for them to modernize, they don't require anything and spend on digital. Now, this is a godsend opportunity for this country's retailers to grow.
I think this discussion has reached another new level of freshness. Thank you very much, all of you. The point which you are making, Nagesh, is that from the temple as the social gathering point, we have come to the mall as the social gathering point.
Not only mall, not only mall, Pavan, even the high streets. You see what happened in Diwali, you saw what happened in Dadar market, you saw what happening in Chandni Chowk. I mean, that is, people just come out in hordes.
So shop, you're saying, is the new gathering point. And Sharmila also alluded to this. There is some kind of retail therapy. So we have taken a jump from the temple. We never went to the psychiatrist. From the temple, we have to come straight to the shopkeeper. So that element of which retail therapy gives, I think that is quite disproportionately high in offline side as compared to online side, at least so far. Great point made. And I would actually want to develop this further, but for want of time, and let me just come to a few questions here. And first, let me ask Damodar, how will IoT help retail business? You already gave one example, but how will it help retail business more comprehensively?
Both ends of the business. One is the operations and other is the customer facing end. Let's take the operations end. My temperature controlled chillers and freezers will become intelligent. They're already doing so. The lighting, the setting in the store, the lux levels, etc., will learn to decide for itself based on the situation that it is learning from. I don't know why this is happening. Sorry. And we're already using this. The lighting becomes intelligent. The chiller freezers become intelligent. Uh, uh, the way manning scheduling is done starts becoming automatic. So at the operations end of running retail, things become more and more intelligent and therefore efficient and cost effective. At the customer end, my ability to predict buying patterns and therefore my ability to solve for it, my for you and delight you will keep going up. We're just taking our initial baby steps at doing this with the customer. It helps that both in the physical world and in the digital world, Indian customer is very easygoing and laissez-faire. So when I prompt you and say, I know this is what you need, you don't get up and say, mind your own business. What I want to buy is my own business. That doesn't happen. The Indian customer says, thank you, aapko kaise pata chala? So I think at the customer end, that part will also evolve. So this will get more interesting as we go along. But to just make it even more real, what Nagesh was saying, and let me make it. I am joining this call from a town called Balasore in Orissa, 200 kilometers from Bhubaneswar. And this store in Balasore, 2 points to make. That was not the first supermarket to be set up here. When we came here, there were 4 modern retail stores set up by individual entrepreneurs from this place and kiranas who had modernized themselves. Second point, the depth of consumption. This store and such stores are often as powerful and probably healthier than our stores in Bhubaneswar and Kolkata and those parts. So when you are in the business of selling simple joys of life, I think the depth and willingness of customers in India is a lot more ready than we give simple people credit for, is what I would say.
You also brought in a beautiful point. You are saying that, I mean, let me go with the context that machines were considered to make the customer interface indifferent. Now you are saying with IoT, machines will make, because of their indefatigability, they will make the customer interface more human, because you will be able to more sensitively record, accurately and regularly record what the customer is doing, and you will use that information to serve him better, thus becoming more empathetic than a human being. Great point. And so I think both the sides are bringing out beautiful points, and new points are coming up. So on that note, let me go to Sharmila and ask her. And this last question was from Kirti Nair, Director Sales and Marketing, Unisum Electronics. I'm sure she's fully satisfied with it, what you've said, Damodar. Let me go to Sharmila. Prashant Bora, MD of Humankind Pharmaceuticals, is asking, what is the next disruption in retail that will drive growth? Sharmila.
So in the India specific context, India, I mean, the retail is contributing 10% to the GDP. There is huge scope. The consumption one is going to define the growth of the retail sector in India. However, I am a big fan of saying the consumer experience is going to define how retail is going to change in future. I will give examples from each of the different formats. Even in e-commerce, now the experience is about within 1 hour delivery. They're talking about 1 hour delivery kind of a thing. That's a new level of experience you are wanting. You take the large format stores. In the large format stores, it's about, like Nagesh was saying, recommendation. There are shoppers there who will tell you how to buy a wedding trousseau. You're not confused about what to buy. So the shoppers are becoming consultants. So that is a different level which will drive growth in that sector. in the brick and mortar, which is my still favorite channel, they are adopting technology. They are people are going to aggregate them like the Udan guys. They will be different, and because they will start earning more money, maybe more and more retailers will come in, and that will drive the growth. So maybe the point of sale might reduce, but the value of growth will increase. That is how I see retail evolving in future.
Very good. So, Nagesh, before I ask you the questions coming from a co-founder of Light Store, Puneet Dinesh, let me just ask all the three of you, who would be the best to answer the next question, which should be the last? How to equip manpower in omni-channel business opportunities? So I've left this hanging here. How to equip manpower in omni-channel business opportunities. Let this be the last question, given the time that we have. But before that, let me go to Nagesh and ask him: will co-retailing or flexible stores be the future of retail? Point number one. On one side, offline is getting, I'm adding to Puneet Dinesh's point. On one side, offline is getting hit by online. On the other side, it is likely to hit by D2C, to get hit by D2C. So will the boom in the D2C e-commerce model have a huge impact on traditional retailing? Nagesh.
So I would request the gentleman to stop reading newspaper and stop going to social media. I mean, today, D2C, how many brands have come? Just because Mensa has got valued at $1 billion or GOAT has come up. I mean, D2C is a very, very, very nascent phenomenon. Okay, all that you're talking of is very, very nascent. I think the way Indian experience and the way Indian manpower and the way Indian retail is happening is unbelievable. I mean, today morning, somebody told me about a lady in Powai who's earning 70,000 rupees by copying the Misho model into her home model, okay, where she has found sourcing and has found a small group on Facebook where she sells the same product which Amazon or Flipkart sells for 500 at 299 and she's making 70,000 baht. Now, if this gentleman is able to create a model where such people become part of his ecosystem, then forget the manpower. You have 1,000 entrepreneurs available in this country. So this is a very, very unique country. And again, I'm saying disruption is an outcome of an event and an action. Okay, people are seeing disruption as model because consultants are coming and telling you that I will help you disrupt or I will ensure that you are not disrupted. No, I mean, disruption is an after effect. To me, it is innovation. So when you innovate, when you do something different, okay, and you create a new market, somebody gets disrupted. Why? Because that person probably was not looking at the opportunity. Shoppers Stop, we were the first to start modern retail in this country 30 years back. We had a right to win in the online business. We missed that. But today we are actually back and looking at getting onto the online because somebody else innovated. So I'm saying, guys, when you look at disruption, you're bothered about somebody, what they are doing. When you look at innovation, you're doing what your company requires to do. So I just want, because a lot of front page media is making our retail entrepreneurs look at a very small, minuscule. All the discussions that we have had is only for 10% of this company, of the country. And the IoT impact as of today is on 0.1% of the 10%. Okay, if you ask me what should IoT do, IoT should ensure that people get water where they want. IoT should ensure that they get jobs where they want. If they get jobs and their salary goes up, I mean, all of us here will be laughing away to capital markets, okay, and show the growth. So I think today IoT has to do. What Jio has done to the whole digital framework, what India Stack has done is what I think we require as a country. Retail is, again, I'm repeating, a very simple business. Very simple. Look at this lady, 67,000 rupees she's earning in a month, sitting out of home with just a phone and a WhatsApp and a small Facebook and a small set of suppliers. So Pavan, my thinking is that let's not worry about disruption. Let's worry about innovation. And when do you innovate? When you understand your customers well. When do you innovate? When you understand the customer's life cycle well and the needs well. When do you anticipate? When you get involved with the customer, both emotionally and transactionally. Only then do you understand the customers. Yeah. And all the innovations that have happened because of that. And all disruptions are not disruptions. I mean, when Jio disrupted, was it a disruption? It created opportunity to billions of people. So all disruptions are actually an opportunity. So please look at disruptions and say, hey, in this disruption, I see an opportunity. Look at the pandemic disruption, the amount of opportunity it has created in this country. Unbelievable opportunity India has created because during the pandemic. So I would like our entrepreneurs in the country to look at these things as opportunities. Look at the right space and stop reading the front page news of all these papers. They're only talking of unicorns. There are 10 of them. There are millions of entrepreneurs who are doing some fantastic job.
No, you're absolutely right. The consultants are really riding on this word disruption. And, actually all disruptions are emerging from innovations. You're absolutely correct. Maybe if we'll have 2 more minutes, we will speak about another point which came up today and has come up on my WhatsApp just now, that the disruption, that the opportunity is there, and opportunity is making capital move in a particular direction, but very large sums of capital are changing the opportunity landscape. So, and you also mentioned that beautifully the other day, that there are some consolidations which happen, which are not going after the opportunity, but they are going with the momentum of the capital. And your comments on that. That can be the closing note of this very informative and very enriching webinar. Damodar, I think you would be the right person to answer the other question by Aparajita Barua of Aditya Birla Fashion Retail. How to equip manpower in omni-channel business opportunities?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Okay, you
and
go ahead.
I will also add the question which has just come from Dipen, okay, regarding, in spite of 15-20 years, why has modern retail actually not taken and gone to 25% and combined with the capital? See, please understand that the physical retail or the modern retail is a very, very capital intensive business. And therefore you look at it that you require capital, and you require capital not only to expand. One of the mistakes that all of us did was, in modern retail, you require capital to first cover the losses and the setting up of operation of the first 2 years. Okay, and that is where I think whoever expanded fast, and there are a lot of retailers who came and have gone off, okay, were not able to sustain. Now that's the advantage that we are getting from online, because in some places where the catchment is not rich enough to set up a store, you can actually go with your online business. And this multi-channel and omni-channel is the real way forward for us to really make things happen. But yes, it is unfortunate because when modern retail is only 10%, okay, we've had huge amount of capital infusion happening through a few people. Okay, if you look at in the whole retail ecosystem, probably 10 companies or 20 companies in 12 million retailers, okay, have got access to capital, which is 1,000 times more than what the others have. Now, this is creating disproportionate growth, okay, but this is the nature of the beast. You can't do much about it. If you look at any country in the world, in most countries, the top 5 companies and the top 5 rich people are from retail. Whether it is the earlier Walmart area, or you go to Thailand, it is central, you go to anywhere. Okay, but that's the nature because it's all connected to consumption. So capital is important. So those of you who are in the retail business want to grow, please don't ignore the fact that capital is required. And if you do not see the opportunity for capital because of the innovation product or whatever, retail can make a lot of profit with a small business. I mean, one store can make you 1 crore profit, 2 stores will make you 1.1 crore profit, 10 stores will make you 50 lakh loss. Because as you grow, suddenly the whole corporate setup has to be done, the management has to change. So it's fantastic to be a small retailer and take pride of what you're doing because you're serving customers. But the moment you become ambitious and want to grow, which is the right of every human being, please definitely look at capital and how you'll get capital.
Great point. And I should also speak, I should borrow this line and tell a board or two that when you expand too much, you might spread yourself thin and profits may turn into losses. Great point. Damodar, how to equip manpower in omni-channel business opportunities?
So first, the pitch report, if I may say.
Go ahead.
I think for our income levels, we are far more digitally literate as people. At the most basic level, and yes, democratization of data has happened. Also, I think people at all levels embrace digital because it solves several of the friction problems that India has. To get things done in the physical world is tougher in India, and digital allows you to build a flyover. So therefore, people who are associates in my store and people who are doing deliveries, they take to apps that are required. They take to understanding a digital process in a with a speed and with the minuscule training that we need to give, that continues to surprise me. I think in that sense, the alignment of stars and geo, if I may say, has been such that we have blessed people in being omni-channel ready. So at a strategy level, we've spoken about it, that we need to be digital first and our instinct. We need to think omni-channel seamlessly, just the way our customers have started speaking. In delivering omni-channel, I think we have a workforce that works at a much lower cost and yet is far more digitally literate. So I stay bullish on our journey, which is truly omni-channel going forward.
Great. It was a great discussion. A few points came up which were really very, very fresh. And thank you very much, everybody. And as far as the online and offline debate is concerned, my view is that offline, of course, will remain very important also because of the social therapy or retail therapy portion of it. Online is going to rise. And I remember I was in advertising and marketing at a time when the internet came, and we felt for some time that the existing media, the print, etc., will not be dislodged. But slowly, today, the situation has changed. Having said that, this is my estimate. I respect what Nagesh and Sharmila have said, and I also feel that there is one very big difference between media and retail, which they have pointed out too. It was a beautiful discussion. I will concede the point, and I will give it to Nagesh, Sharmila, and Damodar, the points which they have made. Thank you very much. It was a great discussion and a very enlightened audience also, because the kind of questions which are coming are really sharp and focused on the topic. I'll pass the microphone now on to Siddharth.
Thank you.
So thanks so much, sirs and ma'am. Such an insightful and engaging conversation, and an absolute privilege to hear you all, and very well moderated, Mr. Choudary. Our guests and I, we've been hooked till the end and have taken home several nuggets from today's conversation. I'm still receiving messages from our members as we speak, and I really wish we had some more time. And also thank you to our leaders in the audience for joining us and for staying till the end and for always sharing excellent questions. Along with our weekly webinars and our digital publications, we're taking these discussions, conversations, and B2B opportunities on our exclusive community app, which is for senior leaders across 20 sectors. So whether you would like to engage with us on our platform, leaders are invited to join us. So thank you very much once again. We look forward to having more such discussions in the future, and please stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.